Tumbleweed. Hi and hello, we meet again. This day seems nice and sunny. Not sure how it is for viewer who is watching this video, but I feel positive. Of course, not in toxic positivity way. At least I think so. But nevertheless, I want to blur out some another story monologue like material of mine. But before that, please keep in mind that this video is for entertainment purposes only, as it's only my perspective and self-reflection monologue. It's not in any way professional opinion because I am not doctor of any kind. Please take things with grain of salt and seek professional help in your arena if actually there is need to it, be it psychological or physical. Please take things with discretion, and I don't take responsibility if there happen to be some mishaps after watching this or other video in this channel. Thanks beforehand about your understanding. There were times when I was thinking I was always decisive and sure about my actions. In a way, this argument is applicable when we are talking about obligatory tasks as school, high school, university, work, etc. Because of course, this is no-brainer, provided by idea. Just do what you are told. When it comes to hobbies, clubs, free time activities, apparently, I am pretty random. For many people, this would seem not so surprising because we mostly grow up in environment when it is said and fortified by many nuances that our interests don't really matter, and what matters is societal constructural needs. Depending on cultural differences, same idea can be seen. Marriage, work, car on lease, house mortgage, family businesses, generational continuing inheritances, etc. Those all are mandatory things over our own personal interests and incidental activities, which we would prefer to do more likely, rather than what others want. At least it seems like that. From my personal experience, it was a little too eye-opening that when I tried to take some deeper rest because of anxiety from work environment, I needed to regularly check with medical professionals to extend my sick leave. It was like one time each second week. Similarly, with flu sick leave, it was like that after weeks sitting at home, using medicine, half sick, half healthy, I was obligated to show myself on site to my family nurse, even when I felt like that I could get sick again, even though I was partially healthy, that feeling what I am talking about. Is that they never let you to take proper rest when actually body needs that. It feels like that I as normal person should become healthy from flu just sitting by at home by 3-day limit, when in reality, for me at least, it needs to be from 1 to 2 weeks long period of time to actually become properly healthy. In similar case with anxiety, it felt like they told that I could need from 1 to 3 months to be separated from work and it would be fine. But what I didn't know, that I would continuously to show myself up each 7th day, that they could see that I actually need extended sick leave. Problem was that I could not relax those 7 days, knowing that after this certain amount of time, I most likely should return to work, and my anxiety at those times just spiked up, and it felt like torment. It really felt like that. They didn't allow me to rest at least month to not to think about that workplace. I was pretty naive to believe in thought that I as an adult could have support from my workplace and medical institution to reasonably repair my health, that they would actually allow me to put myself together to be physically or mentally recovered in good condition to return to my workplace. On side note, I kind of remind you that this is my experience within my country's idea how workplace and healthcare things should go. I might sound like some kitty whiskers, but regarding either mental or either physical health, I have seen that other people can do work effectively, even by drooling snot from their nose. When I try to repeat that determined action, my body usually broke down with higher fever, or something that for myself, I can note to never again step over own boundaries ever. I am aware that your medical recovery could be actual human-like, and workplace could give more time to rest, because from where I am, and I believe many people have this, that 2 weeks 2 times in year as vacation in whole year means basically nothing, because at least I myself didn't feel relaxed nor recovered, but I achieved that I forgot my login passwords and muscle memory to do office task things, that in result afterwards, you felt like intern at your own workplace, whereas you actually work. More than 2 years. Well, when I put this on paper, I could actually understand why this vacation time is allocated so little. But nevertheless, personally I felt like I needed to have some cheat-like thinking to convince my body that I properly get some rest, otherwise it's only wearing myself down, that life itself is only to grind, go work, go home and afterwards. Energy is not enough to actually enjoy your money. It was like I was having money only to have it, not to actually buy things, because how depleted at some point I could actually felt. I was burning out, but by medical terms I wasn't, because burnout needs to have actual higher blood pressure for more than 6 months, or something like that, but I already could not force myself even to sit to table, to face my emails, to answer my calls, to make calls, etc. I am not medical expert, so I don't really know, but I knew that much, that I wouldn't be considered sick in any way. I was pretty much mentally down, that I couldn't properly show interest at medical institution. Not even mentioning that even if I wanted in my after-work hours to buy some stuff on internet to make myself happy, literally I couldn't. Yes, I could click and place orders, just as an example, be it games or some nice action figurine, which I could put on my desk as accessory. But in reality, I could not have time to play video games, because I was tired and needed to eat and sleep, and I was too anxious from making calls to people at work that one point I could not muster myself to respond to delivery person when they were ready to deliver my parcel. So in a way, I was mini burned out, but not actually enough to make sick leave from it. And sick leave itself is only for that. People only do those things to recover and get ready to work. Well, this experience made me more realistic how things are perceived from work perspective and medical staff, that they never let person to recover to feel good, but to recover enough to do return to work. If at that one time, my work wouldn't be so stressful, and you could say chaotic, I probably would never need any kind of leave. I can give a gist that everything was falling down and crumbling because my supervisor changed. With things where previous one was okay, unfortunately, new one was not. Continuing further, I want to share some of my insights, which can help to human mind to think that actually you have more free time at work that you realize. Why it's important, at least for me, it was like my mental state went really worse by when I perceived that there is only 2 weeks, 2 times in year, which gives nothing to close to actually enjoy yourself. I could sleep mostly all free time because this mindset was wearing myself off. And sadly, this isn't first time when I had some troubles with my body or ability to do tasks when I understood or realized something. For example, when I was at primary school, there were times when through some media source, there were some so-called gurus, which in a way told people to try to reach their happiness and evaluate their current state if they are happy. Those moments were okay at first, because who doesn't want to achieve happiness, right? What as a child, I understood that I don't like to do homework, especially learning English language. There was feeling that I could not do those homework because I am not just doing it anymore. But unfortunately, I got my sense kicked back by reality, where I was and what I was. I was pupil, and to pass class, I needed to do those homework thingies. Oh, how I disliked it, but somehow I accepted and done those things. Later, I literally developed anger and distrust to those gurus who always reminds of those nuisances, about thinking happiness and changing lifestyle. Heck, how I as a child without actually power to change my life can actually do that. Those were moments when I actually was afraid, that again I will learn something that hinders my actual work progress, be it school or later studies. Yes, there were some useful information, but at school-like lifestyle, it was all meaningless. That in the end you just keep things to yourself and feel actual hatred to those who try to convince not to do actual work because of some insightful idea that you definitely and obligatory need to be happy and change things for better. It probably wasn't as obligation, but it always sounded like, if you can't follow those, whatever things were to be happy, you are nothing better than pile of fertilizer. But when you are actually as an adult, then you have more brain cells than kid. So in some kind of logical or so, to speak miraculous way, those called happiness things made sense in different way than they were portrayed. So in a way, I can return to my previous though about mind trick, which can help to be okay, where you are with more lighter feeling. What I have understood to this far, I as human, I don't need to search for my special place, and only right workplace to be. Like I don't need those ideas about those chosen ones as workplace, lovers or anything. Brain itself doesn't actually recognize reality from imagination. For example, if you imagine eating raw lemon into your mouth, brain will give triggers that you are eating something sour, like you would actually be eating lemon, but it's not, because it's just imagination. Or there are times when you watch scary movie and think that it is fiction, but for some reason there can be chances that that night you can't go to toilet without turning light on. Why? It was just movie. It was just fiction. Why your body have fight or flight signals from some minutes to actual next 24 hours? Brain doesn't discern those things. If you are afraid, you are afraid, even if it is just imagination. So keeping in mind this nature of human brain, you could actually think that you have more free time at work than it is written on paper. Your work hours are only work hours, so in same time before and after work hours, you have quote-unquote free time. What happens with weekends? You actually have free 2 days as Sunday and Saturday. Isn't it neat that in 30-day work month you actually work only? What? Some 20 days? It sounds something like how it would sound when you would facepalm yourself when someone says that they are going to church whole month when they actually are there only 4 Sundays. Does it sound differently when it is said that something is done whole month when there is actually fewer days? I already know that probably this sounds childish because no adult need these things to explain like that, because everybody know that we work only 5 days in week and we have free time on weekends. But I am one of those people who with mind understand that, but for some fickle reason, body has its own some kind of placebo effect, which can hinder, if not everything, then pretty many things. As example before, that I am feeling down because there are only 2 weeks 2 times a year, which are the only time considered legally as free time. For mind, I can be an adult, but for my body, there are times when I need to talk, think, perceive, explain, re-explain, etc. Like for some kind of child, which ironically, this part of practice is actual some kind form of meditation and self-programming, at least partly if not fully. But the main idea is that how things sound on paper doesn't really register with humans' body's understanding as known as feelings. For this video, this is it for now, and I will continue in next video. Thanks for watching current video. I hope it finds you well. Goodbyes for now.